Okay. Good morning and welcome to everybody who has logged in to join us for our parent information session for virtual learning for elementary. We'll get started right away. We'll go to the next slide.
If we can just
Yes.
announce that we'll be doing translation.
Okay. We will be translating in Spanish. So we will take a pause so that can happen and happen accurately.
Y queremos darle las gracias por tomar tiempo de su día para compartir en esta sesión con nosotros.
My name is Christina Russell, and I'm the Director of Innovative Programs for Providence Public School System.
Esta es la señorita Cristina que está hablando ahora. Ella es la directora de programación para el distrito de Providence.
And again, good morning and welcome.
Buenos días y bienvenidos.
Thank you for joining us today.
Muchas gracias por venir.
I am going to go ahead and let the rest of the staff that will be helping you out today introduce themselves in the order in which they appear on the agenda.
Yo le voy a dar la oportunidad al resto de los empleados y que están presentes hoy de introducirse hoy en día y sus nombres están en la pantalla.
Good morning. My name is Mark Catone, and I am the Assistant Director of Innovative Programs, and I work with Ms. Russell, and I'm happy to see all of you and meet all of you this morning and go through this important information with you.
Este es el caballero Mark Catone, es el asistente director de programas innovativos y trabaja con la señorita Russell. Él está muy agradecido que ustedes han podido venir hoy y está esperando con anticipación conocerlos. Sue is muted. Sue Chen is muted.
Sure, I can. She can't unmute. She can't unmute. I can't unmute either.
There we go. Thank you very much for unmuting me. So good morning, families. My name is Susan Chen. I am the Network Superintendent of Elementary Schools. And again, also I'd like to welcome you to this informational session.
Yo soy la señorita Susana Chen y soy la asistente superintendente de conexiones para las escuelas elementarias. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning.
Sue is muted again. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Patricia Royal. I'm the Executive Director for Elementary School Supports, and glad to see everyone here in the meeting this morning.
Yo soy la señorita Patricia Royal y estoy muy complacida en conocerlos a todos hoy virtual.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Cassandra Charles. I'm one of the instructional support leaders for the Elementary Network.
Está la señorita Cassandra Charles. Ella es apoya una especialista instruccional.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Colleen Van Brunt. I'm another one of the instructional support leaders for the Elementary Network.
Esta es Colleen Van Brunt y ella es otra apoyo instruccional para las escuelas elementarias.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Crystal Lofton. I am the Director of Instructional Support for the Elementary Network and Teaching and Learning.
Esta es Crystal Lofton y ella es la directora de instruccional y apoyo para las escuelas elementarias.
Okay, so I think that's everybody, right? I just wanted to announce that we will be answering questions, and there will be a question and answer portion at the very end of the presentation.
Solo quería anunciarles que al final de la presentación vamos a estar tomando preguntas y contestándolas al final.
So please be sure to type all your questions in the chat box. We will be responding to them as quickly as we can.
Si tienen cualquier pregunta, por favor, les invitamos que la escriban en la ventana de chat, en la pantalla, y vamos a estar correspondiendo las preguntas mientras van viniendo.
So we will continue to answer throughout the presentation, but again, we will revisit and have a question and answer portion at the end.
So, vamos a estar contestando preguntas durante la presentación, pero sí va a haber un momento al final de la presentación para preguntas y respuestas.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Mark, Mr. Catone, who is the Assistant Director.
Mr.
Thank you.
Catone va a hablar ahora.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Good morning again. I just want to quickly go through the agenda with you.
Solo quiero repasar la agenda bien breve.
There'll be a quick overview. As you can see, there are some objectives of this Providence Learning Academy and an overview that we'll begin with.
Vamos a comenzar, como pueden ver en las pantallas, hablando del objetivo del aprendizaje virtual y el programa.
As we get into the overview, we'll shift into what are going to be some of the student requirements for your children, and what is going to be some of the requirements of the learning coach and what a learning coach actually is, so you can understand how that works.
Vamos a hablar también de los requisitos para cada estudiante y también vamos a hablar de qué es un coach de aprendizaje y qué significa eso en este método de virtual.
Throughout the presentation, we will also go through for you what the curriculum will be for elementary school students and what the student schedule will look like, a sample of a student schedule for your children.
A través de la presentación vamos a estar hablando de cómo va a ser o qué va a ser el estudio de plan para los niños y cómo va a ser el aprendizaje durante este proceso.
And then at the end, we will point you to some important resources that you can use as parents and family members of students of the Providence Virtual Learning Academy. So we'll make sure that you are able to understand how to access those. And then we'll also go into the question and answer session so we can answer any questions you may have.
También vamos a hacer recursos para ustedes como padres para que tengan disponible, y también vamos a, como hablamos anteriormente, concluir con la porción de preguntas.
Okay. The objectives of the Providence Learning Academy.
So, el objetivo del aprendizaje virtual.
So first, we created the Academy to provide, during this time of uncertainty, online educational opportunities that meet the learning needs of all PPSD students.
So, nosotros creamos este programa virtual porque vimos la necesidad durante este momento de incertidumbre para nuestros padres y para crear una oportunidad para ellos poder seguir su aprendizaje virtual.
Through the Learning Academy, we'll be able to provide for students learning to mastery. We will give them flexibility in order to develop and understand and utilize the learning that will be taking place. The learning will be individualized. So because once we get into the curriculum and the schedule, you'll see how we individualize this for students.
Entonces, a través del programa virtual vamos a poder proveer aprendizaje hacia maestría. Vamos a poder proveer flexibilidad en el programa y en el plan de aprendizaje. Y también vamos a poder proveer aprendizaje individual para cada niño. Y vamos a ver cómo se va a ver esto más adelante cuando hablemos de los schedules y el currículum.
And also very important is that the academy and the virtual academy will allow for one-on-one time between teachers and students. So that'll be incorporated into part of what is done daily.
Otra cosa que hemos podido incorporar es el tiempo individualizado de maestra hacia estudiantes. O van a poder tener la oportunidad de tener un tiempo de cara a cara entre estudiantes y sus maestras.
Okay. So in order to achieve what I just described, I'm going to go through with you now what the program is actually going to look like as it gets up and running.
So, vamos a hablar ahora en cómo vamos a poder llegar a las cosas y a los métodos que hemos ilustrado anteriormente.
First, this program is offered to PPS students in grades K-5.
Este programa se le es prohibido a estudiantes de Providence entre los grados de kindergarten y 5.
It's going to follow the same curriculum and the same progression for students, grade progression, as it would be as if you were in person learning for all of the PPSD students that are in the Providence Virtual Academy.
Vamos a seguir el mismo currículum y progreso y procesión de plan para cada estudiante que está inscrito en la academia virtual, en todos los grados.
It'll be taught by Providence School Department certified elementary school teachers who know the curriculum and who understand the curriculum.
Las maestras y maestros van a ser profesores del distrito de Providence y certificado en el distrito de Providence, y son maestros que ya han enseñado y actualmente enseñan en el distrito.
We also are going to make sure that your students receive and take all of the assessments that everybody else in the school department is taking for grades K through 5 at the district level, and also anything that the Rhode Island Department of Education is requiring for tests or assessments. We will make sure that your students are participating in all of those.
El programa se va a asegurar que los estudiantes participen en todos los exámenes o estándares y accesamientos que es mandado por el Estado y el distrito.
We'll also, the students, so everybody is on the same page, is going to follow the same calendar as the entire school department. So the same calendar is going to be for the Providence Virtual Academy as for people, students who are in person going to the actual school building. So the calendar will be the same for everyone.
Los estudiantes también en el programa de virtual aprendizaje van a seguir el mismo calendario académico que el resto del distrito. So va a ser el mismo calendario para todo el distrito.
So part of what will be featured, and one of the features for your students will be, they'll be participating in synchronized and asynchronized learning.
Entonces, una de las herramientas que va a suceder durante el programa virtual es que van a seguir un programa de sincronización y también un aprendizaje de asincronización.
I'm going to have Miss Lofton from our elementary team, who introduced herself to you, go through the synchronized and asynchronized learning, so you have a better understanding of what that is.
So vamos a explicar la diferencia entre un aprendizaje sincronizado y uno asincronizado.
Hi, everyone. So I just wanted to go over briefly what the difference between synchronized learning and asynchronized learning is.
Eso vamos a hablar un poco de qué significan estos dos tipos de aprendizaje.
So, oh, can we go? That's okay.
There we go.
Okay, so synchronized learning is time where your children will be on the computer with their teacher, whether it be on a Zoom platform or a Google Meet platform, in which the teacher will be providing lessons and instruction to your children.
So, un aprendizaje sincronizado significa que el estudiante va a estar usando una plataforma de aprendizaje a través de, o si sea Zoom o de Google Classroom, en cual se va a reportar directamente con el maestro al frente del estudiante.
Asynchronized learning is time where your children will be working on the computer, but not with the teacher. So it is their own time to complete the assignments and the activities that the teacher has provided to them based off the instruction during synchronized learning time.
So, durante el tiempo asignado para asincronización, aprendizaje, este tiempo va a ser en cual el estudiante va a seguir su aprendizaje solo, no con la asistencia y la guía de la maestra, pero va a ser aprendizaje que se le va a dar a un tiempo designado para que él lo haga al tiempo de él durante
sí, podremos ver que van a cubrir en este año escolar.
Durante el tiempo asincronizado.
Okay, I'll go over the student requirements.
So, vamos a hablar de los requisitos del estudiante.
Students will be required to log into their teacher's classroom daily.
So, los estudiantes se les va a requerir que de diario se presenten a la aula virtual de la maestra al comienzo del día.
This should happen at the beginning of each and every school day.
Y esto debe pasar todos los días al principio del día escolar.
This is how attendance will be taken.
Así va a ser como vamos a tomar la asistencia por el día.
A student is required to attend all live lessons.
Los estudiantes están también requeridos a asistir todas las sesiones en vivo,
Either by Zoom or by Google.
Sí, ya sea a través de Zoom o de Google Classroom.
And the teacher will decide what platform is being used.
Y la maestra va a decidir qué plataforma va a usar para la clase.
The student will be expected to stay on task.
El estudiante se le va a requerir también que se mantenga en línea con las asignaciones del día.
In both the live synchronized sessions and the independent asynchronized work.
Y también esto se requiere para las sesiones virtuales en vivo y para las sesiones en cual el niño está esperando, queriendo hacer la tarea a su propio tiempo. So, en ambas situaciones el niño debe se le requiere que haga sus tareas en cada sección.
They should be completing and submitting all of their assignments online unless directed otherwise by their teacher.
Todos los estudiantes se espera que sometan sus tareas a través del internet, online, en línea, al menos que la maestra le dé otra directiva.
And again, just a reminder, they will have to participate and be required to participate in all district and state required testing for promotion or anything that's required by the Department of Education.
Y solo para redactar, todos los estudiantes se requieren que participen en todos los exámenes y evaluaciones que requiere el distrito y el Departamento de Estado de Educación.
Okay, and at the bottom it says we introduce the parent and learning coach involvement and to the extent of how it impacts student success.
Y aquí solamente queremos notar que el padre y el coach de aprendizaje y su involucración es muy importante para asegurar el éxito del niño.
Okay, the learning coach.
Ok, so vamos a hablar del el coach de aprendizaje.
The learning coach is more than likely a parent or guardian or a trusted caregiver during the day that is chosen by the parent and or guardian.
El coach de aprendizaje es un adulto en la vida del estudiante que ha sido asignado por el padre.
They'll play a significant role in providing support for the online learning experience.
Esta persona contribuye significantemente en el éxito y el aprendizaje del estudiante.
They will ensure that the student follows the classroom schedule as well as the online schedule daily.
Ellos van a asegurarse que el estudiante siga la clase y el currículum del de la maestra, ya sea virtual o sea en personal, aprendizaje individual.
The learning coach needs to provide a location for their student to work that's free from distractions and has adequate internet access.
El coach de aprendizaje tiene que asignar un local, ya sea dentro de la casa, en cual sea un medio ambiente preparado para el niño aprender y que tenga acceso al internet o al Wi-Fi.
And what's pretty important as well is that the learning coach will provide support that is, go ahead.
No, go ahead, you can finish.
Okay. Provide support and is physically accessible to the student during the school day.
Es muy importante que el coach de aprendizaje o presente su apoyo físicamente al estudiante durante el día escolar.
And we can go to the next slide. Okay, so to continue with the learning coach duties,
para continuar con las expectaciones del coach de aprendizaje,
they'll ensure that the student logs on daily for attendance and attends all live lessons.
Ellos van a asegurarse que el niño entre diariamente a las clases y se presente, ya sea para todas las clases virtuales en vivo.
They should help the student create a weekly schedule.
Deben ayudar al estudiante a crear un schedule semanal.
Monitor the student's grades.
Deben monitorear los grados del estudiante.
And monitor completion of assignments.
Y también monitorear la completación de todas las tareas.
Below is a chart.
Abajo hemos prohibido, si ven en la pantalla, hemos prohibido un ejemplo.
These are just suggestions and best practices.
Este gráfico que incluimos aquí son sugerencias y mejores prácticas para ayudar al padre o al coach de aprendizaje.
So for example,
Por ejemplo,
kindergarten and first graders
para los estudiantes de kindergarten a primer grado,
should have support from their learning coach
deben tener apoyo del coach de aprendizaje de aproximadamente 4 horas diariamente,
or approximately the 4 hours daily.
aproximadamente 4 horas al día.
And then the student, kindergarten and first grade student, should be able to do some independent work for up to an hour a day.
Y para los niños de kindergarten y primer grado, por ejemplo, ellos deben tener 1 hora por lo menos diario en que puedan hacer tareas independientemente.
And then the chart continues with second and third graders, and you can see how the learning coach monitoring time decreases with the age of the student.
Y en el gráfico aquí, si lo siguen, pueden ver de los otros grados de segundo a 3 y 4 a 5, y pueden darse cuenta que a través del grado, las horas o asistencia necesarias del coach de aprendizaje va disminuyendo mientras van subiendo los grados.
The learning coach duties are posted on our website.
Esta página de los requisitos de un aprendizaje, de un coach de aprendizaje la pueden hallar en nuestra página de web.
Okay, next slide. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to, I think, I'm going to turn it over to Cassandra.
All right, so we're going to talk about the 2 curriculum resources that we will be using for your child's reading block as well as your math block. So the first, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. Vamos a hablar ahora mismo de 2 diferentes currículums que vamos a estar usando para los niños, específicamente cuando hablamos de matemática y literatura.
That's all right, I'm good. All right, so your reading curriculum is from the American Reading Company, otherwise known as ARC. So if you hear or if you see teachers just using ARC, then that's what that means.
El primer currículo que se usa se llama American Reading y usamos las iniciales ARC, que se pronuncia ARC. So, si ustedes ven su maestra o oyen a su maestra usar la palabra ARC, se están refiriendo a este currículo.
So the American Reading Company provides a high quality curriculum that's designed to dramatically improve the outcomes for both teachers, students, and teachers.
So esta compañía de literatura ofrece este currículum de alta cualidad que está diseñada para dramáticamente
It is organized in thematic units and available in English and Spanish for students in kindergarten through grade 5.
Para dramáticamente ayudar a los estudiantes y las maestras. Y también está organizada en unidades temáticas disponible en inglés y en español para los grados K a 5.
So the learning process is carefully structured and to ensure that all students are ready to meet the demands of college or career through extensive reading, and that can be done as a class or independently.
El currículum está cuidadosamente estructurada para un aprendizaje basada a un proyecto y proceso para asegurarse que los estudiantes estén listos para llegar a las demandas o sobrepasar las demandas del colegio y la universidad o cualquier carrera extensiva que estén preparadas a entrar. Independientemente de las clases, se concentra en la literatura extensiva y lo hace a través de múltiples proyectos de escritura y otras prácticas que hacen diariamente y se habla en la aula.
There will be multiple extended writing projects and daily practice discussing ideas and text with peers.
I already translated that, sorry.
So we can go to the next slide. So, oh, sorry about that. I'm just moving the chat over so I can see the boxes. So what you see on this slide are the units that your children will be working through for this school year. And the units of study. So the units of study are what the students will be doing during an entire reading block, okay? So your first unit, and ultimately you can look at it as quarter 1 to 4. Your first unit is the literacy lab. They will move then into informational reading, then literature reading, and then finish off the year with argumentative writing.
Ok, so si podemos ver en la pantalla aquí, podemos ver las diferentes unidades que se va a usar en el bloqueo de literatura. Y si vemos en la columna, en la primera columna donde dice unidades, podemos ver que vamos a comenzar con el laboratorio de literatura y termina con escritura argumentativa.
And then the unit of study. So what your children will be doing during a reading block are as follows. They're going to start off by reading a complex text. They will then write to that text. They will take part in reader's workshop, move into some formative assessment or strategy groups, depending on what the instructor chooses. And then they will finish off their reading block with a writer's workshop.
So, estos ejemplos son durante el bloqueo de literatura que van a tener los niños. Durante el bloqueo de literatura, un estudiante va a ser, o se le va a requerir que estudie y lee textos complejos y después se le va a requerir que escriba sobre ese texto. También van a participar en talleres de la lectura y van a formar estrategias, van a formar grupos donde puedan hablar sobre estas estrategias y va a concluir con talleres de escribir.
Can we go to the next slide, please? So this slide talks about the math curriculum. So students will be using Eureka Math. It's a complete pre-K through 12 curriculum that carefully sequences mathematical progressions into expertly crafted modules.
So el próximo currículum que se va a usar es el de es sobre matemática, el tema de matemática, y nosotros estamos usando el currículum de Eureka, y este currículum es un currículum completo de pre-kinder al 12, donde cuidadosamente siguen secuencias matemáticas y progresiones para hacer maestrías de módulos.
And so it's not about just understanding how to solve a problem or the process of solving a problem. Students need to understand why the process works. So teaching mathematics as a story, Eureka Math builds on student knowledge logically and thoroughly to help them achieve that deep understanding to move forward.
So no es solamente hacer o resolver un problema, es aprender el proceso y cómo trabaja el proceso y cómo llegaron al problema, a esa solución. La historia de matemática enseña a través de Eureka cómo hacer o conseguir herramientas y cómo los estudiantes pueden usar esas herramientas para construir y desarrollar lógicamente a través del aprendizaje y entendimiento.
We can move to the next slide. Okay. I'm gonna mute myself.
I think, Colleen, were you going to explain the schedule, a sample?
All right, so we're going to talk through a sample schedule. So from left to right, this is what a typical day might look like for a student. Keep in mind that the order in which your child works in different content areas, it may be in a different order, and you'll get that information from your child's teacher. But this is a sample schedule. So for example, the purple on the left is the reading block.
So, esto que están viendo en sus pantallas es un ejemplo de más o menos lo que pueden esperar en la próxima semana cuando comiencen la escuela sobre el schedule o calendario de sus estudiantes. Si ven de izquierda a derecha, lo que ven en morado es básicamente el bloqueo de literatura.
So that's okay. So for reading, your child will be in reading instruction for 2 hours each day. Part of that time will be synchronous, where they'll be receiving direct instruction from the teacher. And part of that time will be asynchronous, where it'll be independent learning time. So if your child needs a break at that point, they could take a quick break and work at their own pace during the asynchronous portions.
So, si ven en la pantalla, en la porción morada, pueden darse cuenta que los niños van a pasar más o menos 2 horas en el bloqueo de literatura. Si se dan cuenta en el grupo A, este tiempo va a ser sincronizado, o sea, ellos se van a entrar en línea y van a tener clases con su maestra. La segunda parte de la hora, o sea, el grupo B, va a ser el tiempo asincronizado en cual el niño va a pasar esa hora independiente haciendo tarea o aprendizaje asignada por la maestra. Si el niño necesita un momento de descanso, pueden utilizar esta hora para tomar un poco de descanso y seguir el aprendizaje.
So during this part of the reading block, the first hour will be on grade level content, and then the second hour of the reading block will be small group time, where your child will be in a smaller in a smaller group with the teacher getting instruction on their level, like a guided reading group.
La primera hora del bloqueo del bloqueo de literatura va a ser básicamente literatura al nivel de su grado. La segunda parte de la hora va a ser asignada para grupos individualizados. Van a ser grupos un poco más pequeños con la maestra, en cual pueden recibir una atención más profunda.
So during all of the, when your student is not with the teacher and they're on asynchronous learning, whether that's in the first hour or the second hour, your child will be given a set of tasks to complete and work on at their own pace throughout that time.
Cuando el estudiante no esté con la maestra o esté en el tiempo asincronizado, ellos van a recibir tareas o instrucciones de la maestra en cual ellos van a usar este tiempo de asincronización para trabajar en estas tareas que se le asignaron.
So, so that takes care of the reading block. Another block of time that your student will be involved in every day is a 30-minute specials block. That's the yellow in the middle column here. So that would involve time where your student will meet with an art teacher or a music teacher or a PE or health teacher, and they'll have 30 minutes of that each day.
So, cada 30 minutos del día, ellos van a tener una asignación especial ilustrada aquí en el bloqueo amarillo. Estos 30 minutos van a ser asignados para el niño recibir instrucciones en clases como arte o educación física o otros tipos de clases especiales.
So the next subject that your students will be involved in is science. That's the green block. It's going to be split into part of that time will be a teacher-led science lesson, so synchronous, and the other part of that 30-minute block will be an asynchronous learning task that perhaps follows up with what the teacher taught. So that will be 30 minutes.
La próxima materia que van a recibir va a ser ciencia, ilustrada aquí en la sección verde. Y aquí ellos van a tomar 30 minutos con instrucción especial de una maestra y o sea, tiempo sincronizado y el resto del tiempo independiente o asincronizado.
Then in orange, we have an extended lunch block that accounts for time for students to take breaks, time for families to drive to sites to pick up lunches at the school sites if needed for the students. So that's why that block is extended. So that's in orange.
La sección naranjada que ven en la pantalla es tiempo para un lonche extensivo. Y en este tiempo el niño puede tomar un descanso, puede almorzar, las familias pueden tomar tiempo para ir y recoger almuerzo de los sitios que han sido asignados en la diferente.
The lunchtime also includes time for recess. So for your kids to, have a brain break and go out and play.
En esta hora también incluye hora de receso para los niños ir a jugar.
I wanted to clarify, there was a question about what ERLA meant from the reading block. So ERLA is what is part of the ARC curriculum that Cassandra talked to you about, and what it does is it allows us to pinpoint exactly what your child's strengths and areas for growth are in reading, and so we can provide very targeted instruction. So basically, the ERLA gives us their reading level and where to move next with them instructionally.
Alguien hizo una pregunta sobre IRLA, que está en la sección de literatura, en el bloqueo rosado. Y IRLA básicamente nos ayuda a independizar o evaluar al niño para saber si necesita asistencia en una área específica y poder ayudar al estudiante en su aprendizaje.
So then we'll move to the final column, and the big content area that's left in a day is for math. So it's similar to how the reading block is set up, and that part of the time will be teacher-led concept development where they're helping your student understand the content, and then the rest of the time will be asynchronous learning where they'll have a bank of tasks to work on at their own pace. Some of that time in math will also be small group practice with the teacher.
So la otra materia y tiempo asignado en el día es el de matemática. Y así como el de literatura.
And then finally on the right side, what's left is what we call an ELD block. This light blue block is meant for MLL students who receive specialized instruction in English language. That is a time block for them. It is also a time for special education students to meet with their resource teachers to provide the services that they receive through their IEPs. And then for general education students, this is a time to provide enrichment and extension and intervention based on what the teacher is seeing throughout the week to provide that really individualized instruction.
En el bloqueo azul claro que está abajo en la columna hacia la derecha, es asignado para los estudiantes que necesiten educación especial. Durante este tiempo se le va a proveer a maestras certificadas en esta área para ayudar en el éxito de ese estudiante. Para los estudiantes que están en una clase regular van a recibir durante este tiempo materias o tiempo para enriquecer y extender su base en literatura.
So wrapping up the information on the schedule, the thing to remember is that this is a template of a schedule. So every day your child will have 2 hours of reading, 30 minutes of specials, 30 minutes of science, 2 hours for lunch, and 90 minutes of math, and then that intervention time. But the order in which they flow in and out of those content areas will be different for each teacher. And that's because we have to assign the specials blocks for all students, for all VLA students, and that's over 3,000. And so all 3,000 students can't be having specials at the same time. And so once your teacher will have the information, and when they reach out to you, they will provide you with the map of a day for your child. So you should expect to see these blocks of times, but just know that they may be in a different order.
Es importante recordar cuando vemos este calendario que esto es solo un modelo. Lo importante es que su estudiante va a recibir 2 horas de literatura, 2 horas de descanso o receso, 90 minutos de matemática, 30 minutos de arte o algo por el estilo, pero cada maestra va a confirmar o asegurar y hacer el schedule debido a la aula que tiene. Hay muchísimos estudiantes registrados en el programa y es difícil para hacer un módulo para cada uno de ellos, como estamos virtual, pero la maestra va a mandar algo similar dedicado para la clase de su estudiante.
Okay, so we know that was a lot of information and that there's probably questions and comments and things that you'd like clarified that you probably put in the chat box.
Entendemos que ustedes seguro han recibido mucha información y que seguro tienen muchas preguntas.
We'll be getting to that momentarily.
Vamos a entrar a la sección de preguntas en un segundo.
What I want to share with you next is very important because it's going to be a resource for you.
Lo que quiero compartir con ustedes ahora es un recurso muy importante para los padres.
If you have questions related to the Providence Virtual Learning Academy,
si usted tiene cualquier pregunta sobre la Academia Virtual de Providence,
we hope that you would email the Providence Virtual Learning Academy at pvla@ppsd.org.
Esperamos que nos manden un correo electrónico al programa y pueden hacerlo a través del email pvla@ppsd.org.
So while that's up on the screen, you should write that down along with the phone number at the bottom because that's how you can contact someone about this.
Está en la pantalla actualmente, favor de escribirlo y el número de teléfono para que lo tengan a mano por si tienen que llamar por cualquier razón.
And then also we have resources available to you if you want to learn more or be able to understand more about some of the things we went through today.
Y tenemos también recursos disponibles para ustedes si quieren más información de lo que hablamos hoy.
If you go on the internet, you can go visit us at reopen pvdschools.org.
Pueden ir al internet y visitar nuestra página de web que está localizada aquí en la pantalla y la pueden escribir.
So that's another important thing to copy down, that website, reopenpvdschools.org, because that's where you're going to find a lot of these resources.
Entonces, es muy importante que escriban también esta página de web, está aquí en la pantalla para que puedan entrar y recibir más información y más sobre estos recursos.
And then just some of the things that you can find are, you'll find out more information about the learning coach duties, the acceptable use guidelines for students for virtual learning.
Pueden, en la página web pueden buscar más información sobre el aprendizaje, el coach de aprendizaje y también guías aceptables del estudiante.
I know, again, that there's a lot of questions or comments that many of you have. I'm going to turn it over to Lindsay to help organize and manage those from the chat box so we can answer them.
Entendemos que seguro tienen muchas preguntas y hay una persona monitoreando las preguntas en la pantalla de chat.
So I'm just going to read out some of the questions that were asked in the chat throughout. Some of these may have been answered, but this way everyone will have the information available.
So voy a leer algunas de las preguntas que hicieron en el chat.
Which days will be synchronized and which days are not?
¿Cuáles días van a ser sincronizados y cuáles días no van a ser sincronizados?
That's probably a question for one of our elementary team members.
Yeah, I can answer that question. So as I had showed on the schedule, it's not that one day is synchronous and one day is asynchronous. Each day in each content area, your child will flow in and out of synchronous and asynchronous. So for example, if I do have reading starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, if I'm in group A, then I would be synchronous with my teacher on a Zoom. And then by 8:30, I switch, and now I am asynchronous on independent learning. If I'm a group B student, I might be the reverse schedule of that. So you will know if your student is an A or a B when the teacher reaches out to you and gives you your schedule. So they'll tell you when do you need to log on to the Zoom for synchronous and what time block you will be asynchronous at your own pace. So that'll be every day, there'll be a flow of that. It's not one day you're one thing and one day you're the other. It's a mix every day.
So para clarificar, no es que un día el estudiante va a estudiar independiente y otro día va a ser con la maestra, sino que cada día el niño va a fluir dentro de sincronización hacia asincronización. So, por ejemplo, si yo estoy en el grupo A, yo voy a participar la primera hora con sincronizado, o sea, con la maestra. Y la segunda hora, o sea, a las 8:30, si pueden ver, grupo A va a estar independiente, o sea, asincronizado. Durante esta hora, el niño va a aprender independiente, o sea, no con la maestra. Y usted va a saber en qué grupo está su hijo o hija cuando la maestra se comunique con usted para dejarle saber en qué grupo cae el niño o la niña. Entonces usted puede basada en lo que le diga la maestra, puede seguir el calendario que ella le dispone.
Okay, there were also a few questions regarding confirmation of students' enrollment in VLA.
Hay algunas preguntas también sobre confirmación en el programa de aceptancia.
I'll go ahead and take that one. There was an application process that went out to let us know what you wanted to do about opting in or out of a face-to-face environment.
Hubo una aplicación que se distribuyó para la familia para saber si las familias querían optar a entrar al programa o no.
The deadline to submit that was, if you wanted to opt out of the face-to-face and into the virtual environment, the deadline to submit that was August 19th.
La fecha para aplicar para el programa virtual concluía en agosto 19.
If you completed that application and did not get any kind of confirmation of enrollment,
si usted aplicó durante ese tiempo pero no recibió confirmación,
then please email
entonces por favor mande un correo
pvla@ppsd.org.
al email que está en la pantalla, pvla@ppsd.org.
And then we can research that.
Y nosotros podemos verificarles si la aceptancia.
And if you did not complete the application by the deadline,
y si usted no pudo aplicar al programa antes del 19,
then you can ask to be put on the waiting list.
Usted puede peticionar para entrar a la lista de espera.
And or if you have health concerns,
o si usted tiene o el estudiante tiene preocupaciones de su salud,
we can consider enrollment based on CDC guidelines.
podemos considerar aceptación basado a las guías del CDC.
Okay, Lindsay.
Another question, will there be direct one-on-one communication with students and teachers?
La otra pregunta es si va a haber comunicación directa entre la maestra y el estudiante.
I'll take that one. Yes, there will be parents, your child's VLA teacher will be reaching out with you and communicating with you one-on-one.
Sí, los padres, para los padres, su maestra virtual del programa Academia Virtual va a estar comunicándose con usted.
Okay, we'll have a couple more and then I think we might have answered most of them.
Perfect. Another question, what should I do if my child is enrolled in VLA but still receiving communication from brick and mortar school about returning to campus?
Otra pregunta es, ¿qué debo hacer si mi estudiante fue aceptado al programa virtual pero está recibiendo comunicación de su escuela física?
All right, I'll take that one also. I know families, it has been confusing with the Kinvo communication lately. That should be cleaned up and all set. We are separating the VLA enrolled students from the in-person students on the communication list. So hopefully you will not continue to get the in-person communications from the school. You will be able to get the VLA communications from your child's teacher. And of course, let us know if you continue, if there's a problem or if we have a bad phone number. You can email us or contact your VLA teacher and we'll get that straightened out. And you can also contact the principal at the school and we'll get you off of that list. But that should be cleaned up, and you should be all set with straightening out that communication.
Hemos tenido un poco de confusión sobre la comunicación y nuestro programa de Kinvolk que usamos para comunicarnos con los padres, pero estamos trabajando para arreglar y limpiar en esta área y separar los padres virtual de la academia virtual, y pronto van a poder recibir comunicación del programa virtual y no van a recibir de la escuela en cual el niño asistía el año pasado. Pero por favor tengan un poco de paciencia.
Christina, I just wanted to also inform parents, just in case they may have missed it earlier, that the student assignments will be in the parent portal on Skyward. It's scheduled to be there late Wednesday, but I would recommend checking it on Thursday morning.
También quería recordarle a los padres que quizás no se recuerden que las asignaciones de sus estudiantes van a estar disponibles también a través del sistema de Skyward, y pueden entrar ahí para recibir sus asignaciones también. Si no tienen si no se recuerdan de su contraseña ni cómo entrar, pueden mandar un correo y podemos ayudarlo con eso.
Okay, is there anybody else on the panel that would like to reiterate anything or send out a reminder about? Okay, we will post a recording of this session for you to go back and to re-listen to. We will make every effort to post the PowerPoint, but I don't know that I don't know that we will be able to get that done by the end of the day. So hopefully you will utilize the resources we have. If you have any additional questions, please make sure you go through the chat box, because we were answering a lot of questions during the meeting. And I think that might be able to help you if we weren't able to reiterate. We were just trying to focus on maybe some of the ones that we didn't get to answer. Anything from anybody? Ms. Chen?
I just want to take the opportunity again to thank all of the families for joining us today. I know we had a lot of questions. So just to kind of review again, as of Wednesday night, but as Ms. Lofton have recommended, I'd check on Thursday. On the parent portal in Skyward, you'll be able to access your child's account and see who their assigned teacher is. I know there were some questions about Chromebooks and devices in the chat also. And your child's school, their principal, is someone that you can still definitely contact. So even though you're enrolled in VLA, I want you to know that you're still associated with your child's school and their principal. So definitely reach out to them. You'll be, if you need a Chromebook, you'll be able to go to your child's school and sign that Chromebook out with that principal, and we'll make sure that we remind the principals about that. So this way you won't have any challenges with getting that technology in your hands. And as we move forward, you've got the phone number and the email, and you can definitely reach out to us. But also, I do want to emphasize that you can definitely still rely on your child's principal at the in-person school as a resource. I don't want any of the families, I don't want you to feel as if you're hanging out there on your own. You know, we're here for you. We're going to stick together to get this done. And the focus is we've got to take care of your child. We've got to take care of your children and try to give them the best education that we can, given that we're in these really weird times with COVID. But we're there for you. So definitely reach out, and the principal at your child's school is still also a resource.
So Can I just jump in? So I know that there was one parent who asked about a Chromebook in regards to a student going into 9th grade. That principal was not aware of the technology, like giving out Chromebooks. So the network is going to work together. Please feel free to reach out to the principals. However, the network is going to make sure that there is clear communication around how students are getting those Chromebooks. If you have children in elementary school who are not new kindergartners, but those who have been in elementary school already, they should have their Chromebooks from last year during distance learning. If you have 5th grade, if you had a 5th grade student now going into middle school, you should be able to contact that middle school principal. Same with your 8th grade student going into 9th grade, contacting the new principal at their new high school. But we're gonna work together to make sure there's clear communication around that. Thank you.
Sorry. Solo para confirmar, queríamos relatar que esta sesión ha sido grabada y se le va a hacer disponible por si acaso ustedes quieren oír más información o quieren oír la grabación otra vez, se le va a hacer disponible. Alguien tuvo una pregunta también sobre las computadoras y de asistencia de tecnología. Si necesitan computadora o los Chromebooks, pueden llamar al principal del estudiante y pueden coordinar la necesidad de tecnología con ese principal. Si es un niño de escuela elementaria, puede llamar o conectarse con su principal también. Si es un niño que se graduó del 5 y va para el 6, debe comunicarse con el principal de la escuela de 7º grado. Y también eso se refiere a los niños graduándose del 8 que van para el 9. Deben comunicarse con el principal del 9 grado. Y si necesitan cualquier otra ayuda, la señorita Chen estaba comunicando que pueden siempre comunicarse con el principal del niño. Nada más porque están virtual no significa que están desconectados completamente de la comunidad escolar. Pueden llamar al principal si necesitan como otro recurso.
Okay, we will consistently update the frequently asked question document that's online. So please feel free to check there. And of course, we gave you all of our contact information. Thank you so much for attending this, this meeting. I hope it was informative for you and cleared up some questions. And know that we will probably be constantly revising and enhancing what we're offering to make this a great educational experience for each and every child.
So, gracias por asistir a esta sección. Queremos recordarles que nosotros vamos a estar frecuentemente actualizando las preguntas frecuentes en nuestra página de web. So, pueden usar eso como recurso o comunicarse con nosotros a través del correo o teléfono si necesitan cualquier cosa.
Okay, and with that being said, we'll go ahead and end the meeting. We do have a second session coming up in just a few minutes. So I know some people said that they logged in halfway through. So hopefully we can work that out and get you on the next session. Thank you again and have a great day.
Muchísimas gracias a todos.